Alright guys, and welcome to another video that I'm going to be doing. And this one is, as I promised the other day, I was going to talk more about the automation bridge, especially the updated version for the Home Center 3. Since my initial video on the Skaro home automation bridge that I talked about earlier on, and this one was for the Home Center 2. And since then we've had a Home Center 3, and the guys at Skaro have actually done some work on it and actually started porting over items to work with the Home Center 3 as well. So, which is absolutely brilliant news for everybody who's got the Home Center 3 as well. So they can now start utilizing this bridge for their Home Center 3 as well. Only issue, if it is an issue really, is the plugins. At the moment, all the plugins were designed to work in Home Center 2 or Home Center Lite. So some work has been going on in the background to get it working on Home Center 3. Good news is it's getting there, and I believe the key ones have actually been transferred across. Hence why I'm doing this video for you today. So, and also the price is still the same. It's still 105 delivered anywhere in the UK. And if you're away outside of the UK without a local distributor, you can always give me a ring or a message, and I should be able to supply to you as well. So let's have a look at the bridge and see what's actually available for a Home Center 3. So if I click on here, and here's my bridge. So the setup and process is exactly the same as before. You put your credentials in, you set it up as per the other video, and put your Home Center 3 details in, and you can choose Home Center 3 from the options. And once you've done all that, you can use the other video that I've got. I'm not going to repeat everything, so just go to the other video to set up Alexa and all that kind of stuff. What we're going to talk about today is the plugin side. So as you can see here, there's compared to the Home Center 2, the number of plugins is a lot less. However, they are transferring across. And the three that most common that I've come across in my installing time for installing is the Harmony Hub available, Sonos available, and Phillips Hue available. Brilliant news. So what do? We then click on buy. So we then purchase the relevant plugins, same price, 15 Australian dollars. Once it's all gone through, it goes into an add icon just like this. Click on the add, and then it will go through the settings with you, just like I showed on the previous video. Once you've done that, you'll then be able to synchronize the activities like I've shown here. So from my hub, I believe you saw this on the previous video anyway, we've got the 3 hubs I've got, and those are all the activities on the hubs, and it's pulled them all through onto the Home Center. So let's have a quick look at it within the Home Center itself. Now here we are. Everything goes into the unassigned boxes. Once it's in the unassigned boxes, we can then change the name and transfer it to the relevant room. The way I've labeled mine in the bridge, well, if you can see from here how I've labeled my activities, they were labeled specifically for this purpose. So however you name them is however gets pulled in. So like me, if you have multiple hubs like I have, and in there you just write, watch TV and I put it in the bedroom, front room and cinema room. Here's the issue. When it comes to here, it'll just say watch TV, and watch TV. We can see it here, the different hub names and the activities, but then we would have to then use the IDs to make sure it goes into the right section. So word of advice, even on the Harmony side, if you just label them more specifically, be very specific, then that way at least they're easier to transfer through to the Home Center. So here are mine, all labeled into the correct rooms. So front room, cinema room here, and of course bedroom somewhere here. We've got the activities all set up here. Not an issue. And as with before, we can now initiate the activity from my Home Center just by clicking this button. It'll be as though I pressed the button on the remote itself. If I press the button on my remote, it will automatically show it on the Fibaro interface that the button is actually on. So we have genuine two-way feedback, just like I showed on the previous videos. Now, what can we do with this? We can then incorporate them into scenes. So on the other video that I did the other day, I did mention that I'm going to go through them with you. So let's go on to scenes. Actually, before we go into scenes, I'm going to go into... No, I'll go into scenes first, multimedia and hidden. So, as you've seen here, there's something called var change here. What that means is when the scene is activated, the button switch changes state. So from off to on when you're watching an activity, and then from on to off. Perfectly fine. However, the way the bridge works, it talks to the Harmony pretty much every minute or so, or there's like an update refresh interval. Now, with this refresh interval, what happens is it will send a signal back to the home center all the time that it's on or off. And when it sends a signal back that it's on, that is considered as a trigger for the home center. And what it does is it actually runs that same command again. So if you've got a scene that says do this, this, and this, it will actually repeat that scene over and over again every like 30 seconds or so. Now, to prevent that happening, what I've done, what I recommend you do guys as well, is create a variable first. So you go into the General tab, Variable tab, add new variable, and call it whichever way. So for example, bed Cody. So this is my bedroom Cody scene. I've called it bed Cody. It has two values, off and an on. Simple as that. So, and then all the others that I want to do, cinema Cody, cinema Sky, off and on, off and on. Go back onto scenes, multimedia, and bed Cody, and have a look at this. So in the scene, what I've done is I've used those trigger values just like we would normally do from the switch itself, and translated them into translated them into outputs in my variables. So when the switch is on, i.e. when the activity is on, the variable will say on. When the activity is off, the variable will read off. Now, the reason why I've done this, variables, the good thing about variables on this system is if the variable is exactly the same as the signal coming in. So if in my scenario, if Cody is true, we're watching Cody, we've already changed the variable bed Cody to on, and that switch keeps sending us a signal on, and then 30 seconds later it sends us on, 30 seconds later it sends us on. Now, because the signal is on and it reads this, if true, bed Cody is on, the Cody variable is already on. It will not switch off and go back on again. It will just remain in the on position, and therefore it doesn't actually trigger the scene again. So it means we've stabilized the scene. So that means we're not going to keep on getting signals on signals every 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or whatever the refresh period may be. And the good thing then is it means our scene, when the activities are running or not running, we're not going to get multiple on commands or multiple off commands. And with that, it means our scene that we're going to create are a lot more reliable. So I hope you got that. If I now click on bedroom Cody and watch bedroom Cody. So bed Cody var change of variables, and then watch bedroom Cody. So this is what happens when it detects the variable change. So here now our trigger is based on the global variable changing. As we know, that it's only going to happen once, and that's it. And then on the right hand side is all my code. So whatever I've specified is going to happen. So in my scenario, I've just got things like some variable changes to do with the other scenes that I'm running. Turning the, I run a video matrix system. So I run a video matrix system, which means that I send commands through the Fibaro to turn it onto the correct relevant inputs, outputs, etc. Again, you'll see my video that I did a few years ago on the video matrix, so it'll all be in there. And then of course I've got some Hue lights in there as well as a standard light, so I can just set the colors and depending on curtains, if they're open or closed, it will send a signal to open and close them effectively. And then also the reverse, when I've stopped watching an activity, do the opposite, turn off the lights or turn on other lights, open the curtains if it's still daytime, etc. So you can just run whatever code you want it to run. Lights, curtains, anything, even notifications, if you wanted to say, stopped watching active Kodi or whatever. So those are how you do it. So what you do, so effectively, what you really have to do is you're really going to be creating 2 scenes for each activity. The first scene to change the variables based on the activity being on or off, and then second one is to run whatever commands you want to run based on the change in variable, and that way it's very reliable and it works perfectly. I've been testing it, that's why I've kind of delayed this video, just to make sure everything works and there's no issues whatsoever. So that is the plugin for Harmony, and as many hubs as you want, as many activities as you want, they'll all be listed here. Even when you add or remove activities, just hit the sync activities button. I did find that when I did that, it did keep the old activity. So for example, front Kodi, I actually named it to watch Kodi. I forgot my own naming system, so it came up on here as watch Kodi. So what I went in, I went back into Harmony, amended it, saved it. When I synced it again, it actually brought up watch Kodi as well as front Kodi. So I manually deleted it from here as well. So you would have to do that, so be careful on that side. So that is the Harmony integration. Any questions, you can just again put them on the WhatsApp, leave them in the comments below. The next one I'm going to look at is the Sonos one. Oh, before I move on, remember just to use the setup guide. It's an excellent setup guide. There's no point me going over it because the guide is actually a very good guide. So just go through the setup guide, because there is a change you have to make in the Harmony hub itself. So we've got pictures and everything to do that. Right, back to the plugin. Sonos. Let's click on Sonos. Same principle with Sonos. It's it'll use I believe it's username and password. In fact, I need to remind myself, to be honest. Once you've clicked add, you discover your speakers, and then they all come up. All the speakers will then come up, and then it will create your virtual devices. So these pictures are the old HD2 pictures. So then it will come up with all these IDs, all the names and all the IDs, and it just then appears inside your home center. So let's have a look at this again. So we have front room Sonos, which is this one, living room. So the icons for that is just a generic standard icon, and at this moment in time we don't have any way of changing that just yet, but hopefully in a future update we should be able to change icons just like we can on all the others. So it then comes up as that. Click on the top right hand, if I can find it, sorry. Click on that arrow to make it bigger, and then here it is on the right hand side of the screen. So we've got our ID numbers, etc. So yeah, as before, it would appear in the unassigned. We then assign it into a correct room, and here we've got our controls, our usual transport controls. So any favorite radio stations automatically appear at the bottom. You've got your, once you've preloaded your playlist on using your mobile or any other source, you can then control it here using on, off, playing, pause, mute, etc. So your normal existing transport controls all carry on working as per normal. You can then change the volume by using the slider. So pretty much whatever you can do on the app, you can do on here, except for the loading of a playlist, which is still a limitation, I believe, from Sonos as well. So just like the original plugin, it's pretty much the same thing. There is a difference, there always is. The plugin that comes with Fibara natively pretty much does the same thing as this, but one thing that this bridge can do that the playlist can't do. Sorry, the native plugin can't do is this. Let me go back onto the plugin screen. Notifications. And if we go down here, we have got a notification system here set up there. So it means that we can now use our Sonos infrastructure to actually speak out commands from whatever command we want. And what we do is we would create a trigger. Now that trigger is anything on your home center. You have turned a light on, you've turned a light off, a motion has been detected, the front door has been opened. Once you've done that, so let me do one to show you show you how it looks like. So we've got a trigger, and let's just choose any old trigger. Let's have a look at light switch. All right, cinema light. Next. Then we have an option. Trigger. Do when the light turns on or when the light turns off. Choose any one, whichever. Message. Light has turned on. That's it. I'm going to ignore these for now because we'll go through that just later. And then we can choose which Sonos speaker that I want to transmit it to and what volume level we want to transfer it to. So say we do living room at 70%, click on add. Now what would happen is every time the cinema light has turned on, every time the trigger, so anytime the cinema dimmer turns on, I'll get a message, light has turned on. It takes about a second, half a second, for it to generate that text to speech, and it just plays through your speakers. I'm hoping soon that we should be able to start playing our custom files from here as well, but I think that's still in development at the moment. So that's what you can do with the Sonos integration that you can't do with the native plugin for within the Fabaro Home Center 3. So let me just delete that, and that's how easy it is to delete it as well. Sorry, going back to the Harmony, what I forgot to mention is the plugin for Harmony that's inside the Home Center. The limitation on that one is you're allowed to trigger the scene from within Harmony, and it'll work. However, if you use a remote to trigger an activity, it won't work. So that's why it's a two-way communication that the plugin doesn't do on the native Fabaro. Coming back to Sonos, as you have seen, if you have an Alexa device or even Google Doc devices, you can do the same on all three now, where you can actually have your announcement played through the different Alexa devices. Alexa, stop. So you can actually have your messages played through the Alexa devices as well. All you do is, just like I did before, you just create it, and once a device is activated or a scene is activated, and it'll play a message for you. So here's an example like I did. So if I'm running my racing scene, which essentially just turns the computer on and turns the power on to the monitors, etc., it'll just come back and say that message to me, and just to give you some encouragement. Otherwise, it's you can have things like if the light turns off, it'll just say right back, light turned off. So simple things like that you can do. So these are all for testing, and something like this, if I can play this.
Come on, mate, you can win.
So that was fairly quick, and that's how quick the response is when I turn my light on and off as well, or run the scene as well. It's pretty responsive. So whether you do through Alexa devices, Google devices, or Sonos devices, its functionality is all there built in. And again, for Alexa, you do have to run through a little setup procedure about linking accounts. But again, all the instructions are built into it, so you just follow that through and it'll work. Sonos is already built in once you've added the Sonos plugin, and Google is also again built in once you've added the plugin. Right, the last one I'm going to talk about is Phillips Hue. So Phillips Hue, same as Home Center 3, as in the Home Center 2, it allows you to integrate your Phillips Hue devices into your Home Center 3. Compared to the native plugin, it's more reliable, number one. Number two, not only does it allow you to bring in just the lights that you already had. So if I had the native plugin, that is all I would see. I won't see anything else. So the individual light names would come up. This part is the bonus. All this is the bonus. So as I explained on my other video, I got secondary icons, zone name. So if I actually had, say, 5 and 5, and say if all had more than one bulb in each room, traditionally in the Fibaro app, the Fibaro plugin, I would have to control each bulb individually. So if I had the 5 bulbs in the front room, I'd actually send 5 commands to control those lights as an individual, not with the bridge. Because I've got the bridge, all I would do, it'll say front room off or front room on, set the levels, and it would actually send the commands out for me as though I was using the native app that was on my phone. That's how good it is. That's what Automation Bridge does. It allows me to group everything together and run it as one instead. The other bonus feature is this, sensors. I've added an outdoor motion sensor just now to test, and it picks up 2 items. It picks up motion sensing and temperature sensing, and it gives it a Fibaro ID, and it then gets added to my home center. So if I go back here, so here's the motion sensor that I added. Here's a temperature sensor. So at the moment it's sitting on my desk, well, inside a drawer. That's for the motion. Now if I go here, we've got the front room lamp, the front room off. So this is the individual bulb device. So if I click on that icon, we can turn the light on, light off, and do all the color and brightness as an individual lamp. And if I had 3, 4, 5 of them, I would do that 3, 4, 5 times. No. Click on here, click on off, all 5 off. Set the color, all 5 will have the same color, or irrespective of whatever number you have in your particular room. So everything is controllable through scenes, so you can start creating scenes. So you can use your Fibaro motion sensors or any of the sensors, door window sensors, to control these lights, just like you would do a typical traditional Fibaro device. Same with the Hue Motion Sensors. This is an outdoor motion sensor, and as you know, the Z-Wave sensor range is very, very limited, especially for outdoors usage. So I believe this can now fill the gap by the fact that we can now use these Hue Motion Sensors. Through the bridge, we can then actually start triggering our outdoor lights rather than having to make our own through other means. And this way, well, not only do we get the outside temperature, we also get motion detection. So there you are. It's just picked me up because I've just opened the drawer, and I would then use that to run a scene. At the moment in the app, the only thing is in the app it has to be assigned to a room. So I just assigned it to one of my rooms, but on the settings inside it I said do nothing all the way through. So I don't want the Hue system to do anything with it. I'll get my Fibaro to do it all. So now I will just install that outside, and it will just trigger one of my outside lights, security lights, instead of using this bog standard floodlights. I think that was it. There's nothing more to add on these. So the bridge is a lot better. The bridge for now is being improved for Home Center 3. Everything I've talked about today, just now, applies to Home Center 2 as well. So it runs on both platforms, but this has been a bit more an in-depth usage or show and tell for the bridge for Home Center 3. So hope you enjoyed the video. And if there's any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section. If you need help in writing code and things like that, no problem, we can do the Lua service. Just send an email through to my email or WhatsApp, and then we can arrange some dates and times, etc. And that's it. I believe that's it for now. So any other questions, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.